and credits coaches for preparation. All they have to do is execute.
Yeah, that's due to our schemes that our coaches do an amazing job game planning for us both offensively and defensively. Coach Roback, he is a great defense coordinator. He has a great game plan to stifle their offense no matter how good. Because I know Martin's offense last week was a good offense, and we just held them to 12 points. Offensively, we come up with some plays to counteract their strengths on defensively. So it's just playing chess.
And Kagaris said the Cougars offense has shined all year, but don't forget how stingy their defense has been.
What do you prefer playing, defense or offense?
Definitely defense.
Definitely defense. Why?
I love the energy and the thrill of a big hit or whatever.
They always say the defense is what wins championships. Too.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
you
sir.
feel that way?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you got to go out and prove it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay, let's prove it.
And we also talked to Cougars all-region quarterback Landon Gallant.
Have you dreamt about this game?
Yeah, I've been ever since I got this spot this week and this year. I kind of dreamt of going this far. We knew we could, and it was always in the back of our minds. But now that it's here, it's kind of surreal to be playing this game.
One more big game. I mean, you guys have it in you for sure.
Yeah, we definitely do. We just need to take it one day at a time and just really focus every single day and just keep preparing for Suns Bay.
That's right. What's it like having Jameson in the backfield?
Oh, it's great. He's such a relief, honestly. I mean, last game against Martin, he just went off. He was crazy. He's just such an athlete and such a great guy, too, and great friend, so he's a good guy.
Sounds like they got some good chemistry there.
Yeah, dynamic, electric backfield for Lenawee Christian. That was their quarterback, Landon Gallant. LCS plays Suttons Bay Saturday at the Legacy Center in Brighton. Kickoff at 5:30. That game will be on WLEN, WLEN.com. I'll be on the call for that one.
Can't
And-
wait.
Yes, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Your first state championship game?
Yeah, no pressure, Pat. Don't put any pressure on me. But, yep, it'll be indoors in a pandemic spring with all the stuff we've gone through. It's pretty crazy.
We'll
to
be
get to this
listening.
point.
A lot of us will be listening.
Yep, for the Cougars to bring home the hardware. And then that was Steve Barclay talking to them, by the way. And I've had a chance to interview Coach Will Harms and Jameson Chesser a couple times. They're the most respectful team kids around.
Yeah,
I mean, it's yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Like, I'm not sir. You know, I'm like 8 years older than you. I'm not sir yet. You know. But
we had Bill Wilharms on Tuesday, and yeah, very, very thankful to be where they are.
there's a lot of talent, a lot of respect on that team. So, some Detroit Lions news, possibly. Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith is coming in for a second interview with the Lions. That's according to the Free Press. The NFL Network reported Wednesday that Smith, one of the hottest coaching candidates on the market, he is scheduled to meet with Detroit for a second time this week on Friday. Smith had a virtual interview Tuesday with the Lions. The team didn't hesitate to quickly bring him in. So we're talking about possible GM and coach candidates later. It's one of the hot names in the NFL. They're also making some progress on the GM search. They've completed a second interview with Brad Holmes for their GM vacancy. He's a college scouting director for the Rams. Detroit's trying to fill two major openings, coach and general manager. They've interviewed Holmes, Rick Smith, Scott Pioli, Thomas Dimitrov, Louis Riddick, Jeff Ireland, Ed Dodds, Terry Fanenat, Kyle O'Brien, Lance Newmark, Rob Lohman, George Patton, all for the GM job. They've interviewed Marvin Lewis, Robert Sala, Eric Bieniemy, Dan Campbell, Arthur Smith, Darrell Bevel for the coaching position.
Sounds like they're getting pretty close on the GM position.
Yes. Yep. Narrowing it down and honing in on their guy. Michigan, they've hired a former running back, Mike Hart, to be the program's running back mentor. The Wolverines announced the move Wednesday. Hart is Michigan's career rushing leader. He was the running backs coach for Indiana the past 4 seasons. Hart was a 2018 nominee for the Broyles Award, which goes to the nation's top assistant. Coach Jim Harbaugh says he's excited about adding Hart to the staff. I honestly didn't know he was at Indiana for that long.
Oh yeah, he's been down there. He's been doing really well.
Yeah, Milwaukee Bucks, they beat the Pistons. I feel like that's a broken record. Third time this month already, 110-109, or 110-101, so not too far off. Detroit just 4 of 20 in the period and trailed 27-13 after one. At one point, Milwaukee had a 32-29 lead. Pistons cut the deficit to 11 at half, but never seemed like a serious threat to overtake Milwaukee. Jeremy Grant led Detroit with scoring 22 points. All right, the huge trade in the NBA. Disgruntled All-Star guard James Harden, he's joining the Brooklyn Nets following a 4-team deal involving the Rockets, Pacers, and Cleveland Cavaliers. A person who spoke with the AP on condition of anonymity says Harden is leaving the Rockets just a day after saying the team wasn't good enough to beat elite competition. The AP also learned that Victor Oladipo is going from Indiana to Houston. Caris LeVert heading from Brooklyn to Indiana. The Cavaliers are getting Jarrett Allen and Taurean Prince from the Nets. The deal includes at least 4 draft picks and additional pick swaps. Harden is the NBA 3-time reigning scoring champ. He's been dissatisfied with the team's direction since the offseason. He's missed the start of training camp and entering the day, ranked just 18th among league scorers. So the move essentially gives Brooklyn a big 3, Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. As soon as Irving returns, he's missed the last 5 games with what the team says are personal reasons.
I don't know about that trade. James Harden, kind of a disruptor, I think, in some ways. And I don't know if the 3 of them can get along or not.
Yeah, it's, the NBA world we're in is how teams and or coaches can't win games consistently, like big games with guys that score as much as Harden does. Look, he's going to give you 35 to 50 points a game. Is he shooting too much? Is he dribbling too much?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some say he does.
Is he out for himself?
Well, in that report, he says they're not, basically dedicated to win and can't compete with elite teams. So
That'll remain to be seen.
Let's see, where are we at? Let's see, Mac McClung, he led 15th ranked Texas Tech in men's basketball to a win over one of their arch rivals. They won 79-77 over 4th ranked Texas. So a loss for the Longhorns. They are now 10-2. Steven Stamkos had a goal, 2 assists in his return to the Lightning lineup, leading a 5-1 thrashing of the Blackhawks. Braden Point, Anthony Cirelli, Andre Palat, and Matthew Joseph also scored to help the defending Stanley Cup champs get their 7th consecutive season opening win. And finally, Browns cornerback Denzel Ward is back with the team after missing Cleveland's past 2 with COVID-19. That's it for our sports update. We'll do it again at 8 o'clock.
All right, I was glad to see in the sports too that the Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back in practice. He had that high ankle sprain. I thought he broke his foot when he came down on it. But good to see him back.
Yeah.
He's going to make a heck of a difference if he can play.
I was going to say, did they say that he can play or just that he's back practicing?
Well, he's said he's back. Let's see. They're raising hopes that the first-round draft pick can play in the division round of the playoffs against Cleveland on Sunday. So they're hopeful. But
Okay, yeah, it just adds another element
yeah.
to that Chiefs offense. As they're playing a hot Browns team,
That is
you
going to
gotta
be a
be careful.
good game.
Hey, Kansas
wonder
City
what the-
better show up.
I wonder what the point spread is on that one. We'll have to check that out here a little bit later. Of course, we'll have our lock of the week a little bit later on, probably in hour number 2. It's where we pick the team we think that is a lock to win, and I think it'll be one of the NFL games that we'll be picking today. So,
Oh,
Hey.
you're putting it on me to pick an NFL game?
Well,
I was gonna
what
maybe swim into the high school waters.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's
Maybe pick one of those games.
we could do a 2 locks of the week maybe.
Yeah.
All right, you're inside the cave this morning. Ian Wendt and yours truly, Pat Hayes, with you this morning. We could talk with you if you like. Give us a call here on the studio line, 517-265-4000. That's the number to call. Send us an email, sports@965thecave.com. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter. So I think we're going to get our focus right now on high school sports. Of course, yesterday the governor came out with a new directive, I guess you'd say, and it gives a little bit of leeway to high school sports, and some sports will be able to start practicing soon and start playing games on the 1st of February. Shall we run down that, Ian?
Yeah, it's of course complicated and all over the place, but we got it squared away for you. The information is also available on our website. A lot of you have gone there to look at it already. 965thecave.com.
Good article by John Roberts there too. You need to look at too.
Yep, yeah, good. I'll call it an opinion piece,
Mm-hmm.
because he wrote it. It's his words, not mine or anyone else's. But yeah, he talked about the role of the MHSAA in the whole process. So, having trouble finding that. A lot of other people did. I'll have to go. Apparently, it's not on our Facebook page. That's my bad, as they say in the business. My bad. But, basically, here's what it is. I'll get to the specifics here in a second. Bowling, gymnastics, swimming, they can practice on the 16th. That's Saturday. They can start competing on the 22nd. Basketball, wrestling, cheer can practice indoors on the 16th with no physical contact. They can start competing on February 1st. That's the bullet points of the issue of the change and the startup for winter sports. Did you think this would happen by February, or did you think winter sports were in doubt, Pat?
Well, I did think they were in doubt. With the way the pandemic has been going, the numbers have been going up, and I know the governor has said in the past that the numbers got to come down before we can start this hand-to-hand combat and with contact sports. So I was a little bit surprised that she did open it up, but of course it's non-contact activities, swimming, that sort of thing. So, I was hoping it would be a little bit more. I was hoping to see the basketball season get started, but I guess we have to wait a little bit longer.
Right, and this affects high school.
Right.
What colleges are doing, I'm assuming, is up to the league and up to the schools.
Correct. I think
Whatever
you're right. Yes.
whatever they're doing.
Mhm.
So that's obviously why Michigan State, Michigan are playing, all the MAC schools, and
Yeah, but we don't see the MIAA or the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. I don't think we've.
I want to say there's a schedule.
I know Sue Siljebeck was on the Monday show, the Sienna show, and she was talking about maybe getting 10 games in the schedule. They had a 30-game schedule, and they played 4, so they want to get 10 more in. So they've had about 15 ball games that they'll play this year out of the 30. But I didn't hear exactly when they were going to start.
Sort of to be determined. Students
so.
are just now coming back, so they'll have to
Yeah.
go through all their testing and protocols and things like that. But with these rules for different sports and kind of the basis of the article that John wrote yesterday is, what can the MHSAA do? You want to be angry at someone. And some people have been angry at the governor for 10 months. And you're like, well, I'm done being angry at her. It must be the MHSAA. The article walks you through what the role of the league is. they have their hands tied in some things. They can't do a lot on their own. They really got to base their things off the state and what the health department and all these things
Well, I think
want to do.
the Health and Human Services Department, they're the ones that are calling the shots. I mean, the governor is just taking her cues from them, and of course the MHSAA is in the same position. They have to take whatever the health department is saying, that, you know, yes, we can do this, no, we can't do this. So the health department is pretty much, you know, they have the you know, the best, what should I say, they want us all to stay safe.
Right, everyone's
And,
best interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the chance, like, you're gonna practice I mean, I get it, you can play basketball and not touch anyone, but to really get up to playing game speed, so this means they're gonna be able to play full game February 1st with no contact with the student athletes till then. Is that safe necessarily? I mean, you need to get your conditioning up, you know, and you can run and pass and shoot and all those things without being close to someone. But those big guys, you know, those centers, they need to practice boxing out. I'm kind of worried about injury on that front, that they haven't had that conditioning and practice.
True.
Is it going to be a huge deal? I don't think we've seen it in football with the restarts. I
Well, I
thought
think
injury might pop up there too.
Yeah, but everybody else is in the same boat too, so.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking to Mick McCabe last week, and I asked him specifically, what do you think about the caliber of play we're gonna see here in the playoffs this weekend? And he said, well, I think this weekend, the first weekend back, you're gonna see, you know, some missed passes, you know, some drops. You're going to see some missed assignments. You're going to see this, that, and the other thing. But the following week, you're going to see football, I think, like it was when it ended back in the fall.
Yeah, and they'll be playing on a sheet of ice in Clinton. Maybe.
Yes.
Who knows? It's going to be nice and cold.
Rain on Friday and snow on Saturday, so freezing rain on Friday. So that's going to be, I don't know if they have any contingent plans to move that game either to Tecumseh or Adrian College. But I know they want to play at home.
Oh yeah, and they can let fans in.
Yep. Well,
So,
a limited
certainly.
number of fans can
Right.
get in.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, But getting back to the health department, you know, they have, as you said, our best interest, and a lot of people can't accept that.
No, and it's been a touchy subject this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you say the number or the percentage point, like 99.96. Some people look at that as, oh, it's almost 100. But some people look at the .04, and that's a big deal. I mean, when you're talking about fatality rates with the virus, I think that's probably the number that it's at now. .04 is still a lot of people, you know, and it affects all of us in some way, and it has at this point. I get it. You can understand both sides,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the right to be upset on whatever side you are.
Well, I can understand a parent being upset that his son or daughter couldn't play a particular sport, or it's late getting started, and they're seniors, and you know they want to go on to college and maybe play maybe play college ball or something. But sure, I can see why parents are kind of upset. But on the other hand, you know, you got to balance it out.
Yeah, and since the kids are in school, that's been a big argument that I agree with. I'm not in school, but I don't have a kid. I'm just looking at it from 10,000 feet up. If you're in school, they're the most, I'll say regulated. They're the most, they're being watched. You know, they're like, okay, stay 6 feet apart, wear your mask. They might be safer at school than they are at home. That's kind of the way it goes, and hopefully that translates to athletics.
All right, Ian, we got to take a break here. It's 22 minutes after the hour. You're inside the cave this morning with Ian. If you'd like to talk with us about anything sports-wise, give us a call, 517-265-1067. 4000. You're Inside the K with Ian and Pat. And Tom was originally going to talk about that Iowa game, but anyway,
Yeah, just talk about Luca Garza for
boy,
3 minutes.
I can't wait to see Michigan play.
Dickinson and
like-
Garza.
That should be, I think, I don't know. Garza, he's playing great, but we'll have to see.
Oh, you were gonna go on and say something bold, weren't you? You were gonna say something
It's too
bold,
early.
Pat.
Too early in the season.
You were gonna say like, well, they're gonna be competing for Big Ten Player of the Year. You can say it. That's fine. You can speculate.
All right.
You can speculate.
We will speculate later. Anyway, we want to talk maybe a little bit of hockey as the Detroit Red Wings have named a new captain, and boy, he's got some big shoes to fill, and some great players in the past have had that position.
Yep. John Roberts and I talked about it yesterday, and we sort of stumbled on it. And we go, "You think they'll announce it later today? If they're going to have a captain, and the Red Wings will not be without a captain, they'll knit the C on Dylan Larkin's sweater, number 71, as the 37th captain in franchise history. Luke Glendening and Franz Nielsen will be alternate captains for the season. He's
Yeah.
24, Dylan Larkin is.
Young guy, reminds me kind of a little Stevie Yzerman when he first became captain. He's been the scoring leader on the Pistons for the last 3 years. What did I say? Pistons, I'm sorry. Red Wings. Red. It's hard to say Red Wings sometimes.
It's been a while since we've talked about him,
That's
too.
right. I haven't talked much about him at all, but as I said, some of the great captains that they've had, of course, Steve Yzerman and Gordie Howe way back in the day. And I got to tell you a story. My son-in-law gave his son, who was 8 years old, my grandson, a picture, and it was a picture he acquired from another family member, and it's a signed autographed picture of Gordie Howe, Sid Abel, and oh shoot, I just lost my mind.
I'm going to guess Ted Lindsay.
Ted Lindsay, you got it. Signed by each of those guys, and of course, Matthew doesn't have any realization of what that picture is, but great picture of him and signed. It's really great.
Yeah, just a historic and a winning franchise, winning tradition with the Detroit Red Wings. But, Larkin's been with the Red Wings since 2015-16. He's got 266 career points. Played for development programs in the area, Lakeland Hockey Association with Bell Tire AAA. He spent 2 seasons with the U.S. National Team Development Program, a team that Adrian College has been playing in the recent years. He spent 1 outstanding season at the University of Michigan, and then debuted with Grand Rapids in their postseason run in 2014-15 with Coach Blashill being in Grand Rapids at that time. I think as he became sort of a staple with the Red Wings, the fans grew to love him. He's native. He gets it. We feel like he's part of us.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
he'll represent the Red Wings well and produces and is doing captainly things.
He takes over from Henrik Zetterberg, who retired back in 2018, and he's only the 4th captain the Red Wings have had in the past 34 years. Isn't that something?
Nick Lidstrom.
Yep, Steve Yzerman, Zetterberg, those 3.
Man, that's some stuff.
That's
I mean, look.
real history there.
Here's how much Michigan loves hockey. Or maybe it's just me. Do you remember watching them retire Lidstrom's number? Raise it up with the Joe.
Yeah, I believe it.
Pat, I watched it and I cried. Because, when Nick was on the ice, you knew what you were getting.
Absolutely.
He was Mr. Perfect. The perfect human is what he was called. And, man, and then Zetterberg took that over, and now it's Larkin, like you said, huge skates to fill for the Red Wings. And he's a captain of a rebuilding team no question about it, a bottom dweller in the league in terms of wins. He's got to instill that culture from Iserman to Blashill to Larkin,
Yep.
and the team feels that Dillon's the way to go. And I don't disagree.
Well, some of the old captains, Marcel Dion, Alex Del Vecchio, Gordie Howe, as we mentioned, Red Kelly, Ted Lindsay, Sid Abel, Ebby Goodfellow, Sid Howe, Herbie Lewis, George Hay, and Reg Noble, going way back to the beginning.
Wow.
Some big names there.
Yep. Big names. A lot of historic black and white photos at the LCA and in the Joe back in the day. Man, it's the winning franchise in Detroit. You got the Lions doing what they do. The Tigers had a couple, but it's Hockey Town. It's Motown, it's
Yeah.
the Motor City, and then it's Hockey Town.
Well, congratulations to Dylan Larkin, number 71. 6'1", 198 pound, only 24 years old. Got a great future ahead of him.
Yeah, could be another
He could-
long-term captain, an Iserman situation.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just thinking that when I saw how young he was. He played at University of Michigan. He only played 1 year, and then was signed, and played in the minors, and then quickly came up to the Red Wings.
Yeah, just to put this in perspective, Pat's about 42, 43.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm 26. So to put the pressure on a 24-year-old to be like, all right, kid, here you go. You're the captain of the Red Wings. The Red Wings. It's like the Yankees of baseball. The Detroit Red Wings. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think the fans overwhelmingly support him. Honest to God, I haven't read through any comment that's like, oh, they should have picked such and who, or Larkin shouldn't be the captain. It's all of, great, finally, welcome to the fraternity of captains for the Red Wings. And they dropped the puck tonight
That's
against
right.
Carolina.
Yes, they do. And first round draft pick back in, what was it, 2014.
Yep.
So congratulations to Dylan Larkin. We're going to hear that name an awful lot the coming years to come. Red Wings, maybe this is a rebound year for them, and they got some pretty good draft choices the last couple of years. So
Trusting the Steve Yzerman way in the GM role. If you want to read about Dylan Larkin, you can go to 965thecave.com. Got a little article up there telling you all about him, all the numbers and accolades that he has piled up over his young career with Detroit. But after the break, Pat, I want to stay in the same city. We'll go to a different sport. Lions. Need to hire a GM.
the Lions.
Yep. Who do we think the front runner is, and who do we think they're going to get? Talk about that.
A lot of names out there.
Yep. I was winded reading all those names that they interviewed.
All right, give us a call if you'd like to talk Lions with us. 517-265-4000. That's the number to call. You are inside the cave. Ian Wett, Pat Hayes.
We're not just fair weather fans. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Whoa! Gross!
Hey, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. 96.5, The Cave. Well, they
Lions inside the cave this morning. Pat
Rock it
Hayes-
out!
Yeah, Pat Hayes along with Ian Went with you this morning. We are rocking it out.
Yeah. You're awake, I'm awake, we're fired up, ready to go.
I'm surprised you're awake.
What do you mean?
Going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Well, alright, I'm gonna spill the beans here.
Okay.
Everyone pretty much knows already, but I got a dog yesterday. And not only is it a dog, it's a puppy. Yeah, no, he's not here. He's not here. But, yep.
Go away, let me sleep.
Not last night. He was great last night. Great.
Oh, good.
Yep, a clean cage. No whimpering, no crying. You know, good stuff so far. But the dog's out of the bag, if you will.
Okay, the dog is out of the bag.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
you got the dog.
mm-hmm.
What's his name? Or her name?
His name is Archie.
Archie.
Yeah. Going for a happy, fun name. So went with Archie. Archie Went.
Archie Went.
Yeah, the newest member of the Went clan.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
just a little
good.
guy.
Congratulations. And
Thanks.
you got it from the Humane Society,
I
actually.
did. Shout out Lenawee Humane Society.
Wow.
Filled out the application online. They were quick. You know, reviewed it, approved, got me in, out, all set. Good to go.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's talk Detroit Lions. Still waiting to hear on a general manager and a new coach. They've had a lot of people in for interviews, and they just had Brad Holmes for his second. And college scouting director for the Los Angeles Rams. And I guess his strength is looking at players, evaluating them, and has done very well at that.
Yeah, I'm reading from a site here. I'll give them a little credit. PrideofDetroit.com. They've narrowed it down to who the Lions are looking at to bring in for an in-person interview. Now the first ones were done virtually. Second ones are in person. So they have Brad Holmes. They've interviewed already. Jeff Ireland. He is the where am I at here? Get back to that. I'm lost on that. Ed Dodds with the Colts. Terry Fontenot.
Yep.
He is with the Saints, the VP, Assistant General Manager. George Patton as well, Vikings Assistant General Manager. So that's who I'm looking at here. With the four, I guess I misspoke when I said Ireland was one of those. Looking back, I don't see him. Oh, there we go. Yeah, he's the Saints VP Assistant GM of College Personnel, Jeff Ireland. So, couple candidates. You know, you look at the team, right? Obviously, you're interviewing the person, but these guys are influencing who's getting drafted and how they perform. So, all right. So you got the Colts. Pretty good roster.
Absolutely.
You know, they had troubles at quarterback sometimes. Rivers didn't play really well consistently. Saints, come on, the New Orleans Saints. Pretty darn good football team. Couple from the Saints with Fontenot and Ireland, and then the Vikings assistant GM George Patton. Vikings got a pretty good roster.
Patton's been around a long time too.
Yes. And you got Holmes with the Los Angeles Rams. They got the best defense in the NFL right now.
Why would any of these guys want to go and leave those teams that they're playing, have been very successful, and come to the Detroit Lions? What's the hook?
It's to prove you can do it on your own, or maybe your influence wasn't heard enough at the place you're at. You know, like, I want to make the calls. Maybe some have ties to Detroit or Michigan, and that's a component to it. You know, a lot of these guys are, the next step up in their career is a GM. You know, and they're all on the upward trajectory. So ultimately, that's like a gig you have for a long time. You know, once you get it, you prove yourself, you can stay there for a while. Like, that's the top rung of the ladder, if you will. You know, there's only 32 of these jobs. The Lions may be a joke on the field now, but there's only 32 of these jobs.
One thing I like about the Lions in doing this, they're taking their time. They're not making a rush judgment. It's been very clear from the beginning, and they've interviewed an awful lot of people. They've gone outside of, I think, the normal realm of coaches and GMs. They've really, I think, done a good job as far as that's concerned. But, you know, to pick the right one, you got some pretty good people there, Barry Sanders and a couple of other former players that are helping them out, trying to find who's the best fit for the Lions. And, you know, I just hope, you know, it's funny, I was watching the NFL today, and I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about the Lions, and they very seriously said that we hope the Lions get it right this time. You know, because they've been so bad for so long that Michael Strahan was the one who said it. You know, and he was very serious. He said, really, I hope the Lions take their time and get it right. Because they want to see, you know, the Lions do well. They want to see all these teams do well, and that makes for better games, better races. Not the same teams up there every single year like the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings or the Kansas City
Saints.
Chiefs, the Saints, you name it. So
Yeah, it's good for the league.
It is
for
good for
all
the
the
league.
teams to be competitive.
Yeah.
And look, if the Lions don't get this right, once fans are allowed back, I mean, people might just start not showing up.
but
Like,
that's-
look, the Fords can't get this right, no
but-
matter what they do or who it is.
No, this has happened before, over and over again, but still, the fans come back. The Lions have probably one of the greatest fan bases in the National Football League because they fill that thing up every single game when they're not very good.
Right. Yeah. It's an anomaly.
Yeah, I don't know.
It
if
really
the
is.
Detroit fans have gotten to like to boo or whatever it is, but.
Well, maybe tickets are cheap enough. They'll take their kids to a football game and they can watch the other team.
There you go.
I mean, I went to a game
Yeah, we went
a couple
to a
of years
game.
ago. Yeah, we saw
The Chiefs.
Was it the Chiefs? I thought
Yeah.
it was the Chargers.
No, the Chiefs. It was Patrick Mahomes, remember? He
Oh,
won
I
the
thought
game.
it was Phil Rivers.
No,
And then the Lions beat him.
No, this was when the Chiefs came back and they won. The Lions were leading in the fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes brought it back to win it.
I don't know if I went there with you on that. Did you go to two games?
It was at that media day thing that we
Okay, well, one of us is wrong. Give you
I'm
me.
sure it was you.
All right, yeah, I'll take that
Yeah,
bet.
I drove, I remember.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll take your word for it. I'll check the ticket stub and then ask our
Still
boss
got it.
which game she let us go to. Yeah, which one of these candidates do you think the Lions are leaning towards or really should go after?
Well, a lot of talk about Rick Smith. I don't know if he'll be a good fit or not, as far as the GM is concerned. As far as coach, you know, that's still way up in the air. I mean, I think Eric Bieniemy, I think he's already interviewed with several teams, and he's probably the hottest commodity there is on the market for coach. But for general manager, you know, I really have no idea.
All right, how do you interview the GM? Like, do you go and say, "What are your thoughts about Matthew Stafford?" Like,
I'm sure
you wanna
that's
keep
probably
him?
one of the questions.
And
I'll
the other
ask.
one is like, what kind of coach do you want? You know, what kind of scheme do you want? Does the coach fit the scheme? Now, typically you hire the GM and then the coach. I think you have a goal set as an organization, and then you find the guys to fit that role, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to hire this guy and then just do whatever they say. I think you have some input into to how the team looks. And if the Lions love Matt Stafford, they want him to stick around, which all indication is they do and have.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the conversation is, can you build around an injury-prone but tough 32-year-old quarterback? And would you be willing to? And then grab a coach accordingly. If I'm going to put my finger on any of these potential candidates, people really talk highly of what the Colts have done with their roster in recent years. So Ed Dodds is the kind of guy for me that I think I would lean towards at this point.
Okay.
Still a lot of names.
Still a lot of names.
A lot of interviews to go.
We'd love to hear from you too, listeners. Give us a call on the studio line, 517-265-4000. That is the end of hour number 1 of Inside the Cave. Don't go away. We'll be back with more sports. We'll talk some professional football. We'll talk with John Borton about Michigan basketball. So don't go away. You're Inside the Cave this morning.
because it's time to go inside the cave.
Over there. And welcome back to hour number 2 of Inside the Cave. Yours truly, Pat Hayes, along with Ian Wentz this morning. Good morning, Ian, again.
Hey, morning, Pat.
We've got a lot to talk about this hour on the show. We're going to talk a little bit about Michigan basketball.
A little bit.
A lot about
A
Michigan
lot of
bas-
The hottest team in America.
And of course, our weekly guest at 8:25 will be John Borton, senior editor at the Wolverine magazine. I'm sure John's going to have some interesting thoughts about the team, who is now 11-0 on the season.
Yeah, a lot of questions for John. You know, talk about the basketball team, of course. We talked about the women's program, who they're still undefeated, right?
Yeah, I
They
believe
haven't
they
lost.
are. Yeah, I don't think they have.
We got Harbaugh contract we can
Yeah.
talk about, and Mike Hart coming back.
You got it. Let's get it started.
Now for an Inside the Cave sports update.
It's all about Michigan this hour.
I love it.
You're not wearing your Michigan sweater. High school football here locally, to be playing a state football title game in January. These days, anything can happen. Steve Barkway talked with Lenawee Christian All-State lineman Kobe Kagaris.
Well, it's been a weird year, so nothing was out of the cards. So just pushing it back was no big deal because we knew this season was going to be uncharted territory for whatever would have going on with all the masks and testing and all that stuff.
And he credits coaches for preparation, and then all they have to do is execute.
Yeah, that's due to our schemes. Our coaches do an amazing job game planning for us both offensively and defensively. Coach Roback, he is a great defense coordinator. He has a great game plan to stifle their offense no matter how good. Because I know Martin's offense last week was a good offense, and we just held them to 12 points. Offensively, we come up with some plays to counteract their strengths on defensively. So it's just playing chess.
In the Cougars' offense, they have shined all year, but let's not forget about how stingy their defense has been.
What do you prefer playing, defense or offense?
Definitely defense.
Definitely defense. Why?
I love the energy and the thrill of a big hit or whatever.
They always say the defense is what wins games.
Big ugly.
Yes, sir.
So you feel that way.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you're gonna go out and prove it.
Yes, sir.
Defenders always have the most fun.
They do.
Offense is all about turn at this spot, do this thing at this exact time, and defense is like, all right, be in this spot and go hit someone. Can't blame Kobe for liking defense. Steve Barkway also talked with the Cougars all-region quarterback and receiver and corner. Plays all over the
Dreamt about
place.
this game?
Yeah, I've been
Sorry.
ever since I got this spot this week and this year. I kind of dreamt of going this far. We knew we could, and it was always in the back of our minds. But now that it's here, it's kind of surreal to be playing this game.
One more big game. I mean, you guys have it in you for sure.
Yeah, we definitely do. We just need to take it one day at a time and just really focus every single day and just keep preparing for Suns Bay.
That's right. What's it like having Jameson in the backfield?
Oh, it's great. He's such a relief, honestly. I mean, last game against Martin, he just went off. He was crazy. He's just such an athlete and such a great guy, too, and great friend, so he's a good guy.
And that was Lenawee Christian quarterback Landon Gallant. LCS will play Suns Bay Saturday at the Legacy Center in Brighton. Kickoff at 5:30 on our sister station, 103.9 WLEN, WLEN.com. I'll make the trip to call the Cougar game. The Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith is coming in for a second interview with the Lions. That's according to the Free Press. NFL Network reported Wednesday that Smith, one of the hottest coaching candidates on the market, is scheduled to meet with the Lions for a second time this week, Friday. Smith had a virtual interview Tuesday with Detroit. The team did not hesitate to quickly bring him in. And now they're making some progress in the GM search. They've completed their second interview with Brad Holmes for the GM spot. He's a college scouting director for the LA Rams. The Lions are trying to fill the openings of coach and GM. They've also interviewed Rick Smith, Scott Pioli, Thomas Dimitrov, Louis Rennick, Jeff Ireland, Adam Dodds, Terry Fontenot, Kyle O'Brien, Lance Newmark, Rob Lohman, and George Patton. Thanks for the thumbs up, Patton. Don Campbell, Arthur Smith, Marvin Lewis, Robert Salah, Daryl Bevel have all been interviewed for the head coaching position.
Oh, baby, it's triple! Oh, yeah!
Speaking of coaches, Michigan has a familiar face on the sidelines. They've hired former running back Mike Hart to be the program's running back mentor. The Wolverines announced the move Wednesday. He is the career rushing leader at Michigan. He was the running backs coach in Indiana for the past 4 seasons. Harbaugh says he's excited about adding Hart to his staff. The Milwaukee Bucks, they beat the Pistons for the 3rd time this month, 118-101. Jeremy Grant led Detroit with 22 points. James Harden traded to the Nets, a mega trade we're calling it, the disgruntled guard. He's joining the Brooklyn Nets following a 4-team deal involving the Rockets, Pacers, and Cavaliers. The person with knowledge spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity, saying Harden is leaving the Rockets just days after saying the team was not good enough to beat elite competition. The AP learned that Victor Oladipo is going from Indiana to Houston. Karis LeVert heading from Brooklyn to Indiana. The Cavaliers are getting Jarrett Allen, Taurean Prince from the Nets. The deal includes at least 4 draft picks and additional pick swaps. So the move essentially gives Brooklyn their big 3 of Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving as soon as Irving returns to the team. They say he's missed 5 games due to personal reasons. And let's see, it was Steven Stamkos, a goal to assist in his return to the Lightning lineup. 5-1. Lightning beat the Blackhawks. Braden Point, Anthony Cirelli, Andre Palat, and Matthew Joseph scored to help the defending Cup champs get their 7th consecutive season opening win. The Blues 4-1 winners over the Avalanche. The Canucks topped the Oilers 5-3. And of course the Red Wings in action tonight at the LCA 7:30 puck drop with the Carolina Hurricane. So that's it for the sports update. We do them weekdays at 7 and 8.
Just an update on your Detroit Lions story. George Patton was hired by the Broncos as their GM. So he is off the table as far as the Lions are concerned.
So Georgie is out.
Georgie is out. The
right.
Lions better hurry. They might lose some more.
Yeah,
We'll
they
see.
might.
Maybe an announcement this week.
I don't know if we want to go out on a limb and say that, but I mean, you're in 2nd round of interviews. You got a pretty good idea
I think so.
who you're going to get, you know.
End of this week, 1st of next, possibly.
Yep, and then the coach will follow probably within a day or the same time.
Okay.
Announce them both at the same time.
You heard it first, right here.
Yep.
All right, let's change our subject now to Michigan sports. We've got the hire of Mike Hart coming back to his alma mater to coach the running backs. Good move.
Hit the fight song. Come on, it's a big Michigan day.
It is.
Big Michigan topic. All right.
There we go.
Yeah. Moves in football. I think we'll get to that later with John Borton and Mike Hart and the coach contract with Jim Harbaugh. But my big question, and I almost wanted to start our show with this, but I felt high school sports was important to get the information out there as quickly as we could. Is U of M basketball for real? The men's program clobbered Wisconsin. They were up, 40 points at one point?
They went on a 43-6 run in the second half.
So they beat up on the Badgers. They're a number 9 team. Michigan ranked 7th at the time. So they'll be in the, if they're not in the top 5, they're doing something wrong, especially with Texas losing again. Is U of M basketball for real? Do you think this is a mirage? Like, do you think maybe they're playing the easy part of their schedule and it'll level off, or they're just going to run the table and be an all-time team?
Well, I think to answer that question, will be coming up on Saturday as they travel on the road to play at Minnesota. Minnesota, the team that they took apart at Chrysler Center. Most of these wins have come at home. So we're going to have to see how they do on the road, if they can continue what they've been very successful at. And I think their number one asset is, or has been, their defense. They have just smothered teams. They have taken them out of their game. They have all the tools, and if one guy is not on, there's another guy that's right in back of him that's going to pick him up, and that was evident against Wisconsin when Hunter Dickinson, you know, he had a little tough time in the first part of the first half. He was getting pushed around a little bit, couldn't make his shot, and luckily we've got Austin Davis back now. He came in, got 12 minutes, so you know, he wasn't as sharp as we saw him when he got injured. But I think with the addition of Austin Davis back in the lineup, the team is even going to get better. They have a better bench than anybody else. You know, they can go 10 deep and not lose anything.
Yeah, and that's an asset. Is, you know, one of these games, Dickinson's going to be in foul trouble, right? I mean,
That's
just
right.
statistically, it's going to happen. Or an Eli Brooks or a Livers, or someone's going to have to sit for quite some time at some point, and you need that guy to come off the bench and do what he does. And Austin Davis has been that guy in his career at Michigan, and he showed he can hold his own. And you guys texted me. I was working on something else and didn't catch the game. He texted me, and it's like, okay, they're clobbering Wisconsin, you know, and then, oh, it's good to see Austin Davis back. And I go, Austin Davis? He's back already? Like, they were talking weeks for the injury, like 6, 7, maybe. It's a very iffy injury in terms of recovery, but to have him back that quick is good for Coach Howard.
Well, I think they work miracles over there sometimes, and I'm sure Austin Davis, of course, he's got a great attitude, and that helps with your recovery too. And he worked it apparently, and I was actually surprised when I saw him in there, and but it was great to see him back. He's going to add even more to this 11-0 team. And like I said, coming up Saturday at Minnesota, it might be a little bit different story. And as you said, Ian, I think a couple of these guys get into foul trouble. It could make a difference with the bench.
You just got to be ready.
That's right.
And the thing is with Minnesota is I did watch a good majority of the game when they played at Chrysler. And they said in the broadcast several times, Minnesota struggles on the road, especially here. You know, they just do. It's in their psyche. So you're right. We'll learn a lot about Michigan Saturday. It's tough to play on the road in the Big Ten, even though there's no fans there. It's still the travel, the arena, the team still exists. It's still uncomfortable for the road team.
Well, I don't know. You didn't catch the game against Wisconsin the other night, but the bench area for the Michigan team, they were just absolutely going crazy. They were hooting and hollering, and they just couldn't believe some of the stuff that was going on that these Wolverines were doing. And there was a shot of one of the guys. He was jumping up and down, and all of a sudden he went right down to the floor and was laying flat on the floor and was just shaking his head back and forth, couldn't believe what he was seeing. And you know, and I think that's one of the things that was brought up too, is that the Michigan bench is not afraid to cheer. they're cheering their team on and they're creating noise, and that makes a difference with your teammates on the floor.
Stay engaged,
Stay engaged.
keep your team up, and that's on the shoulders of Coach Howard.
That's right.
Like, look, you know there's not thousands of fans here, right? Like, you got to bring the energy. It can't just come from the court. It's got to come from off the court too.
And
So-
you know, some of these games that have been played, they say, you know, if there had been a crowd there for the opposing team, things might have been a little bit different.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they were saying that when Michigan State beat Duke.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if there were fans there, maybe that gives Duke another 8 points or something.
So, you know, the last time these two teams got together, Michigan whomped them at home 82-57. And then, of course, you had the Wisconsin game 77-54. So I think they're coming up to their stretch where they're going to have quite a few teams that are ranked. And I'm thinking of, well, they play on the 30th of the month, they play Indiana. Then they go to Northwestern, then they play Michigan State, Illinois, Wisconsin again, and Rutgers. So that is going to be a stretch right there that's going to be tough. And, you know, I was listening to an interview yesterday on the Huge Show. John Beeline was the guest of Huge, and Huge asked him that question, you know, are these guys for real? Are they going to have a letdown here in the middle of the season? They haven't really gotten to the toughest part of their schedule. And, you know, Beeline kind of evaded the question a little bit, but he did say that, you know, every team goes through that. You know, you have a little bit of a lull sometimes. You get a little bit complacent, and he thinks that Juwan Howard won't let that happen, and gave credit to a lot of the other coaches on that team that are, you know, not just household, they are not household names, but they are great coaches. Martelli being one, and Smith, and, you know, the whole list of coaches there at Michigan. They really have that family atmosphere, I guess you'd call it, and they have really come together, and they're playing together, and, you know, nobody's worrying about how many minutes they're going to get. They're all for the team, and it's great to see. The chemistry is just great, I think.
So to bring it back around, is U of M basketball for real? I'm going to say yes. Will they go undefeated? No. No, the chance of going undefeated, especially in the Big Ten, it's pretty tough.
If they do,
It's not
they
impossible.
definitely will be for real.
Right, yeah. This team is for real, and I'm going to give you a quick reason why. I know we're up on a break here pretty soon. I liked Xavier Simpson for Michigan. Didn't love him. I don't think he was great at anything in particular. I think, you know, the transfer of Smith, Mike Smith,
Oh, absolutely.
helps. I think Eli Brooks doing what he can do on the point or at the wing has been a difference maker for this basketball team. It's getting that guy in there that's a good all-around guy, good all-around player. Smith had 16 points, 30 minutes. He had 6 assists, couple boards. It's a really good night from a point guard perspective. So that's why I think they're a contender. I really do. And I think they're for real. Obviously a contender, they're unbeaten. But for real. I don't think it's totally fluky. Will they lose? Yeah. I don't know what game they'll lose. But this team is for real in my eyes.
Can they play with Gonzaga?
Sure. They're going to attack Dickinson. Right? They're going to try to get him in foul trouble.
Yeah.
So they'll have to play through that a little bit. But yeah, it looks like they can hang with just about anyone in the country at this point.
All right, we're going to take a break here. We'll be back to talk with John Borton from the Wolverine Magazine here in just a minute. Don't go away. You're inside the cave this morning with Pat Hayes and Ian Wentz. And you're back inside the cave this morning. Ian Went, yours truly, Pat Hayes, with you. And time for our regular Thursday guest here on Inside the Cave as we talk Michigan sports. John Borton from the Wolverine magazine. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Pat. Great to be with you.
And of course, we've had a lot of things going on in Ann Arbor this past week, and we've had a great basketball game against Wisconsin, and we are asking ourselves here, first part of this hour, are the Michigan Wolverines for real? What's your take, John?
Well, I think they're absolutely for real because you see all the elements of not just a Big Ten contending team, but a national elite team. You've got the core anchor in the center. You've seen the 7-1 freshman Hunter Dickinson come and play at an all Big Ten level. He's been unbelievable in the absence of Austin Davis. He's really emerged as not just a piece of the puzzle, but a star in terms of leading this team in scoring and rebounding. But you got the boost the other night of seeing Austin Davis get back in the lineup, immediately score a bucket. That means they're that much more deep at the center position. You've got the fantastic wings. You got Mike Smith coming on as a point guard. That he is, the transfer out of Columbia, who has just been terrific in his role. And you see so many intangible parts, the Shondae Brown and Brandon Johns Jr.'s that fit in and are really coming off the bench to do great things. Above it all, you saw that amazing defense that they put forward the other night. This is a team that can lock down an opponent, and they certainly beat up on Wisconsin like nobody does. It's very special what they've got going on in Ann Arbor right now.
We were a little bit surprised to see Austin Davis back in the lineup. We thought that injury was going to keep him out for a little bit longer than that, but obviously he's feeling a lot better, and that ankle is working great.
Yeah, he's worked himself back, and his biggest issue was the plantar fasciitis there in the foot, and that's a really painful injury, and it sometimes takes a long time to get back. But credit to not only Michigan's medical staff, which worked very hard and very long with him to get him back, but to Austin Davis himself, because that's an arduous thing, and it's kind of can be a lonely thing when you're working your way back and all your teammates are having all this fun. But he got to fully join in the celebration the other night, and it's just a great thing to see him back.
Yeah, certainly for the local guy to get back in the game was really great to see, especially for us here on the Cave. Good morning, John. First off,
Morning, Ian.
morning. In talking about is U of M for real, I said yes, and I pointed at one position and one player really in particular. I thought Simpson was a good point guard, not great. I think Mike Smith takes this team to another level. Do you agree with part of that?
Well, I think that Xavier Simpson could do a lot of things and some amazing things, and to make up for his size and scoring around the basket. And he was truly the leader, and everything revolved around him. Everything flowed from him in that offense. Mike Smith, I think, is more versatile in some ways. Remember, he was a big-time scorer in the Ivy League, and he has modified his game because he's got a lot of mouths to feed. And it's a beautiful thing because the offense doesn't have to all run through Mike Smith, but he is an excellent complement. He can score like the other night when Michigan needed a bucket and was in that great run it put together. He had a step-back three that was a thing of beauty. He actually led that team in scoring, where that wouldn't have been predicted against Wisconsin, but that hasn't been his big thing. It's been feeding others and running the show, and I think he's done an excellent job of it. And Michigan, to me, hasn't really lost a step at point guard, and that's surprising given all that Xavier Simpson meant to them.
I'm going to go to the coaching staff, in particular, Juwan Howard, and Pat and I were talking. I mean, he's got the team playing, of course, great defense, and they're playing really well, but they're having fun. I mean, on the bench, they're cheering on their guys. They're jumping up and down and doing all the theatrical stuff there. I mean, that's something you have to do with the current fan situation. How much credit do you give Juwan Howard for, sort of guiding that and encouraging that from the players?
Well, I give him great credit, and I give great credit to his staff, but also to these players, because this is a carefully selected team, not only because of its physical skills, but also because of character fit, mold, what they're trying to accomplish. Juwan Howard, I like to hear Phil Martelli, the longtime assistant coach and former head coach for many, many years, talk about Juwan Howard when he says family. And Martelli said that at one point, everybody says that. And sometimes you just kind of quietly roll your eyes. But for Juwan Howard, he sees how true that is. He sees how much of a family he wants to make it. I mean, he's got his own family, and Jace Howard, right on the roster, and how he has fashioned a group that is has such good chemistry and is so pulling for each other that you get a Shawnee Brown, who was a star at Wake Forest, comes in here, is taking a secondary role, and just accepts it and is looking like he's having the time of his life. You get an Austin Davis that can come in and mentor a Hunter Dickinson, who is going to become, just a standout on this team, but he's at the same position as Austin Davis, and there's a selflessness, that permeates this team. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of credit to go around. I will say this: it's a lot easier to have everybody smiling when you're winning, but they haven't had to worry about doing anything else so far.
Well, during their Big Ten season so far, the last 6 games, 2 of those were played away. The majority of those have been games that they won at home. Of course, they go up against Minnesota on Saturday. And what do you think the Wolverines will do with Minnesota after they dismantled them at the Chrysler Center? Are they going to be able to continue that momentum? And because I know Pitino is going to have his guys ready.
Yeah, no doubt. And I wouldn't look for any kind of a 25-point Michigan win in the barn as it won at Chrysler Center. But I do expect Michigan to go and give a good performance. It has to guard against a couple things. It looks like it could beat anybody, including an NBA team, the way it played the other night against Wisconsin. But that says there's no automatic carryover. And you go to Minnesota, they will be completely fired up to get even for that 82-57 loss that they absorbed at Chrysler Center. And you've got to just turn the page, being a 0-0 mindset going into that one. I think that Michigan, though, is the makeup of the team is so talented, they're so hungry, and they do have those parts to be able to go on the road and win. They proved it at Maryland after Maryland had posted an incredible win out in Minnesota, or in Wisconsin. And it's not as if the Wolverines haven't put down a card, haven't been able to show what they can do on the road. I think that they will come out of there. I'm predicting that they come out of there at 12-0, but I know this: it will not be as easy as it was the first time around.
I have one more question about the men's basketball team, John. Is there, I know everything seems to be working, but is there something you look at, critically of the team that maybe they can improve on, like maybe get to the free throw line more, or ball movement, or anything you're seeing that, Coach Howard can point at in film and say, we can be an amazing team if we just do this?
Oh, I think there'll always be something, and I would say that with this team, It does so many things well defensively and sharing the ball and moving the ball. And you can't really practice against not making shots. It has some stretches where it hasn't shot well, but for the most part, even that, you're shooting the best percentage in the Big Ten. If anything, there are times when you might get a little bit lax and throw that pass that you shouldn't, and maybe the turnover percentage on this team could be cut down a bit. But that would be the biggest thing. That comes along with making some of those spectacular plays and trying to have all that ball movement that we're talking about. Number one thing, if I was to change anything, would be cut down a little bit on the passes to get away.
Yeah, like I said, not too many things to pick out. I mean, we're being nitpicky here, and that's good. That's a good position to be in.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, because, I mean, you go right down the line. Defense, check. Shooting, check. The unselfishness. There's so many things that you look at this team, and Michigan fans are so excited. And I said it the other day that you came into the end of the John Beilein era, and Michigan fans were like, wait a minute, we got cheated. He can't leave. We were not ready to give up all this excitement and fun and everything, the national runs and the Big Ten contention and all that. It's too early for that to end. And now, all of a sudden you're looking at a situation where we're fine. We like this. You see a lot of smiles on the faces of Michigan basketball fans because they realize that Juwan Howard is set for a really, really good run ahead. We haven't even mentioned the fact that, as I have said before, he's doing all this with the nation's #1 recruiting class tucked in his back pocket for next year.
Let's move along now to football. There's been some information coming out. Of course, we got the new extension for Jim Harbaugh and a new hire, Mike Hart, coming back to his alma mater, the all-time rushing leader. Your take on Mike Hart taking over the running back spot?
Well, I think it says a couple of things. One, Mike Hart has been a mover, a high riser in the coaching game, even at an early age. And you look at a guy that has worked his way up through various stops, Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Syracuse, Indiana, and an Indiana team very much on the rise, and they saw enough of Mike Hart to make him an associate head coach this year. And so he's been a guy that has really made it in the coaching ranks to this point, just the way he made it on the field when people looked at him early on and thought, too small, we don't know about his competition in high school, and yet he becomes Michigan's all-time leading rusher in the modern era. Amazing from that standpoint. He's a guy that he's just a winner. He did it as a player. He has been doing it as a coach, and now he wants to do it back in a place where he says, "Oh, it's always had a special place in my heart," and that's Michigan. The other part of this is, remember not too long ago that Jim Harbaugh and Mike Hart were extremely at odds, with Jim Harbaugh out at Stanford and Mike Hart at Michigan. Jim Harbaugh talking about how he was casting some aspersions on Michigan academics at that point, because he was making Stanford look a little bit better by comparison.
I remember
Mike
that.
Hart's a great exception to that, and really, he really let Jim Harbaugh have it immediately.
I remember.
This is a testament to how fences can be mended. It's not personal, it's business, and hey, it's credit to Jim Harbaugh for not holding that grudge and saying, hey, come on up here, and to Mike Hart for accepting.
All right, John, one more question, and it's too bad we're running out of time because U of M football extended Jim Harbaugh. They cut the base salary basically in half, and they throw a bunch of incentives in there. That's not really a surprise to us, when it took this long to get the extension done. But kind of what's the pulse in Ann Arbor about the extension?
Well, I think it really comes down to, do you believe that Jim Harbaugh can get this done, can get them over the top in one particular critical way? Because the key to everything, and we've talked about this before, can they beat Ohio State? If you can beat Ohio State, you unlock the key to everything, to getting to Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship game, to Big Ten championships, to making the playoffs, to doing everything that folks hoped that you could do when you got here. And Jim Harbaugh is going to be around. He's signed on for that extension, even at considerably less money, but with the those incentives involved. He's going for young, hungry coaches, as we've seen in the case of Mike Hart. And now it's, I think the people that believed in him before like what he's doing. The people that have had doubts over the last 6 years are still in an arms folded, show me stage.
All right, John, we are out of time here, but we want to get in about the Wolverine magazine. How can folks subscribe?
Well, if you want to get the magazine on a monthly basis now, plenty of analysis and all kinds of good features on the Wolverine. You can call 800-421-7751, and do not forget to check us out every day on thewolverine.com. You can subscribe there as well. We've had all kinds of amazing breaking news with the Mike Hart saga and Jim Harbaugh and Michigan basketball, you name it. So check us out there as well.
That's my place to go, and I've really enjoyed my subscription, John, and we'll talk to you again next Thursday.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. John
you.
Morton from the Wolverine magazine, our guest here on Inside the Cave. We'll be back after these messages.
Let's talk sports. 96.5 The Cave.
And you're back inside the cave here. Boy, we had a quick hour here on this one. And we're going to go right into our lock of the weekend. And this week's lock of the weekend is being brought to you by Adrian Locksmith. Let's be honest, you couldn't pick your nose if it wasn't attached to your face.
Nope.
So I can't imagine you're any good at picking football games. So we are going to help you out with the help of Adrian Locksmith. They have been serving Lenawee County and the surrounding area for over 20 years. Adrian Locksmith is located at the corner of North Main and Maple Avenue in Adrian. And we'll be back with our lock of the week right after we pause for this message from Adrian Locksmith.
Hi, this is Nick. Do you want to check or change the security on your home or business?
All right, our lock of the weekend. It's been a Michigan hour so far here. We're going to go with U of M.
We are. Yep. U of M hoops. They're going to go to Minnesota, get a win. Fans want a blowout? I don't know. We think it could be more competitive.
More than 25.
Oh, that's not the lock. The lock is that they'll win.
Okay.
Lock is that they'll win.
All right, our lock of the weekend has been brought to you by Adrian Locksmith. Security is their business. Adrian Locksmith is at 402 North Main Street in Adrian. Give them a call at 517-263-1415 or check them out on Facebook. Thanks, Nick, for sponsoring Lock of the Week.
Yeah, it's a fun program.
It is.
We'll keep it going.
Hey, we've been doing pretty well, too.
Yeah, we got a above 500 record.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
We're
only
on a
lost
roll.
one, haven't we?
Yeah, one maybe
The first
two.
weekend of the season?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Remember that we picked Onstead.
Yeah.
That was our only.
Now I think Penn State got us both times.
Oh,
Two, right? We picked Michigan to beat Penn State in football, and then they lost.
Yeah.
And then we picked State to beat Penn State, and they didn't.
Okay.
So yeah, 3 losses
Three
against like
You would have to
50
say
wins
that.
or something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we got to move it along here. Let's talk NFL football. Big weekend coming up. A couple of games on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. Saturday's first matchup pits the LA Rams and the Green Bay Packers. That's a 4:35 kick. Packers are 7-point favorites.
How unbelievable that we're at this point in the NFL season, that it's happened,
I know.
and that we're here.
We've
A lot
been
of
blessed.
doubts.
We've been blessed this year.
Yep. You said Packers 7-point favorite.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I would take LA with the points. I think Aaron Rodgers will make that one play that'll get them the win. I think LA's a dark horse. I think their defense is really good, but Aaron Rodgers is on a mission. He's going to get the job done.
I'm not going to pick the Rams. They have totally ruined my season several times. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is going to have it all together, and they're playing at home at Lambeau. It could be a snowy weekend. The guys from California are going to go down. Second game of the day will be the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills. 8:15 kick. 2.5-point favorites are the Bills. This is a tough one.
That's a good number.
This is a
I
tough
mean,
one.
Ravens might be the hottest team in football, and Buffalo's right there too. Buffalo and Baltimore are probably 1 and 2 of like, you don't want to play them.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to play each other.
Over under is 50, so it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I will go against my AFC North rival, and I'll pick Josh Allen and the Bills to go to the AFC Championship game.
Boy, I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson has come into his own the last couple of weeks. I think the Ravens going to surprise the Bills. Okay, the Sunday games. Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New Orleans Saints. Wow, that is going to be a huge game. 3-point favorite
For the Saints,
for the Saints.
well, it's hard to beat the same team twice. New Orleans did that. Even harder to beat them 3 times. But if there's a quarterback that can do it, it's Drew Brees. But the problem is he's playing Tom Brady. I think Tampa Bay's got their stuff together, and they're gonna play an amazing game and get a really close win in the Dome.
I think this is Drew Brees' last game of his career. Tampa Bay is going to win this game going away. 51.5 is the over-under. And then we have another game, the Cleveland Browns taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Another good game.
It's like a throwback to the 80s, right?
Yep.
Browns were good. The Chiefs were probably good. Gosh, the football fan in you wants Cleveland to just keep the magical run going. Mahomes has other ideas. I think people are discounting the Chiefs because they're winning close. Kansas City to win the game and go to the championship.
I've got them too. Kansas City, Green Bay, my 2 teams in the Super Bowl. How about you?
Oh, that's time for another week.
Okay.
We'll do that another week. Lot
right.
to watch and look for this weekend.
We are out of time here on Inside the Cave. Thanks for joining us today. I'll see you back here again next Tuesday, and Ian, you'll be back tomorrow. No, you'll be back
Wednesday
next week. All right, we'll see you then. You're Inside the Cave this morning